Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Muratira Vanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Shrutakara Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Takoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasili Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Maya ki, Jamuna Maya ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Padaya, Vishnu Prasaya Putale, Shmati Bhakti Pramani Tinamane, Namaste Krishna Padaya, Prabhupada, Ashwadamane, Shri Guru Bhakti Bhakti Jyoti. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasaya Putale, Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamane. Te Saraswati Devi Gurvani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. We are 3, 5, 3:15, 40. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirakit nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, let's first offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishis, the supermost human beings, unto the Goddess of Learning, Mother Saraswati, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes in Srimad Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart becomes almost completely destroyed, and devotional service unto the Supreme Lord becomes established within one's heart as an irrevocable fact. We're continuing our study of the third canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Description of the Kingdom of God, or text 40 through 42 today. We'll chant text 40 together. 41 and 42 I will just do myself in the interest of time. The meter to this, if you've been following along, it's in the same meter we would chant the Brahma Samhita prayers. Pitam shuke pritu nitambini vishpurantya. Pitam suke pritu nitambini vishpurantya. Kanchali bir utaya vanamalaya cha. Valgu prakoshan valayam vinata sutam se. Vinyastahastam itarena dunanan abjam. Pitam suke pritu Pitam suke pritu nitambini vishpurantya. Kachali virutaya vanamalaya cha. Valgu prakoshta valayam vineta sutam se. Vinyasta hastam itarena dunananabjam. Hitam suke pritunitam bini vishpurayantya. Kanchali bir utaya vanamalaya cha. Valgu prakoshta valayam vin atta sutam se. Vinyasta hastam itarena dunanam abjam. Anybody here like to chant? Hitam suke pritunitam bini vishpuraja.
Anjaya Vidhaya Hirtaya Namalacha
Kanchali virutaya vanamalaya cha. Valgu prakoshta valayam vinita sutam se. Vinyasta hastam itarena dunanam abjam.
Hitam shuke pritunitam binivishpuryantia.
Hitam suke pritunitam bini vishpuradyantya.
Anjali virutaya vanamalaya cha.
Kanchali virutaya vanamalaya cha.
Prakoshtavalaya vinata sutam se.
Valgu prakoshta valayam vinita sutam se.
Hastamitarena dhunanam abjam.
Vinyasta hastam itarena dunanam abjam.
Nitam sukhe pritunitam binivishupuranta.
Hitam suke pritunitam bini vishpurayantya.
Kanchali virutaya vanamalaya cha.
Anchali virutaya vanamalaya cha.
Alku prakoshtavalaya vinata sutam se.
Valgu prakoshta valayam vinita sutam se.
Indriyasta hastamitarena dhunanam abjam.
Vinyasta hastam itarena dunanam abjam. Okay. We'll go through the synonyms. Pita amshuke, covered with yellow cloth. Pritu nitambini, on his large hips. Vishpurantya, shining brightly. Kancha, with a girdle. Alibi, by the bees. Virutaya, humming. Vanamalaya, with a garland of fresh flowers. Cha, End. Bagu, lovely. Prakoshta, wrist. Pralayam, bracelets. Vinata Sutta,
The Sutta,
of Garuda, the son of Vinata. Amse, on the shoulder. Vinyasta, rested. Hastam, one hand. Itarena, with another hand. Dunanam, being twirled. Abjam, a lotus flower. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He was adorned with a girdle that shone brightly on the yellow cloth covering his large hips. And he wore a garland of fresh flowers, which was distinguished by humming bees. His lovely wrists were graced with bracelets, and he rested one of his hands on the shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, and twirled a lotus with another hand. Purport. Here is a full description of the personality of Godhead as personally experienced by the sages. The sages meaning the four Kumaras. The Lord's personal body was covered with yellow robes, and his waist was thin. In Vaikuntha, whenever there is a flower garland on the chest of the personality of Godhead, or any one of his associates, it is described that the humming bees are there. All these features were very beautiful and attractive for the devotees. One of the Lord's hands rested on his carrier, Garuda, and in the other hand he twirled the lotus flower. These are personal characteristics of the personality of Godhead. We'll go to the next verse, text 41. It's not going here. Is it working there? I'll just take this. It's okay. I can just take this. Go off. Okay. Vidyapshipam makarakundalam arha Kandash Stalona Shamukam Manimat Kiritam Durdanda Sanda Vivare Harita Paradya Harena Kandaragatina Chako Stabena. Translation? His countenance was distinguished by his cheeks and enhanced the beauty of his alligator-shaped pendants, which outshone lightning. His nose was prominent, and his head was covered with gem-studded crown. A charming necklace hung between his stout arms, and his neck was adorned with a gem known by the name Kaustubha. This word, countenance, it means what you see on a person's face. So if a person is very cheerful, they have a certain countenance about them. If they're sad or depressed, they have a countenance. This is a word not commonly used so much nowadays, but this is what it means when they say the countenance was distinguished by cheats, enhanced by beauty of his alligator-shaped pendants. We notice when Krishna has different types of jewelry, there's another type that is also, so this is alligator-shaped pendants. There's another type of animal that is described with Krishna's earrings in particular. Anybody know the shark-shaped earrings, right? What? Yeah, Makakundala. Shark-shaped earrings, so this is alligator-shaped pendants. Okay, so we'll go to the text number 42. This one also has a purport. Hatropashrashtam iti chot simitam indiraya. Swanam diya virachitam bahu shosh avarayam. Mayam bhavasya bhavatam cha bhajantam angam. Nemor nirikshana vitripta darsho mudakai. Jump to the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The exquisite beauty of Narayan, being many times magnified by the intelligence of his devotees, was so attractive that it defeated the pride of the goddess of fortune in being the most beautiful. My dear demigods, this is Lord Brahma speaking. My dear demigods, the Lord who thus manifested himself is worshipable by me, by Lord Shiva, and all of you. The sages regarded him with unsated eyes and joyously bowed their heads at his lotus feet. Purport. The beauty of the Lord was so enchanting that it could not be sufficiently described. The goddess of fortune is supposed to be the most beautiful sight within the spiritual and material creations of the Lord. She has a sense of being the most beautiful, yet her beauty was defeated when the Lord appeared. In other words, the beauty of the goddess of fortune is secondary in the presence of the Lord. In other words, in the words of Vaishnava poets, it is said that the Lord's beauty is so enchanting that it defeats hundreds of thousands of cupids. He is therefore called Madan Mohan. It is also described that the Lord sometimes becomes mad after the beauty of Radharani. Poets describe that under those circumstances. Although Lord Krishna is Madan Mohan, he becomes Madan Daha, or enchanted by the beauty of Radharani. Actually, the Lord's beauty is super excellent, surpassing even the beauty of Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. The devotees of the Lord in Vaikuntha planets want to see the Lord as the most beautiful, But the devotees in Gokula or Krishna Loka want to see Radharani as the most beautiful, as more beautiful than Krishna. This is key here. The adjustment is that the Lord, being Bhaktavatsala, or one who wants to please his devotees, assumes such features so that devotees like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods may be pleased. Here also, for the devotee sages, the Kumaras, the Lord appeared in the most beautiful feature, and they continued to see him without satiation and wanted to continue seeing him more and more. Om Ajnata Brandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna. So we have a series of wonderful verses here today describing the qualities and characteristics, specifically the beauty of Lord Narayana in Vaikuntha, as seen by the four Kumaras. And this particularly is important to us because we have no idea or understanding what the Supreme Lord looks like without revelation. It is not through our philosophical mind or our scientific mind or our imagination which we will come to the right conclusion as to what Lord Narayan, Lord Krishna, any of the Lord's incarnations, what any of them would look like. It is only through the Lord revealing himself to his devotees, and then through those devotees, understanding what he looks like through their writings, through their descriptions. It is stated that only at this stage of Bhava Bhakti, a very high state, that one can actually have spiritual vision and be able to see the Lord. In one's contaminated state, it can only see matter. So it is only by the magnification of these great devotees that we were able to understand the exquisite beauty of the Supreme Lord. And it's giving us some identifications, some ways in which we can meditate upon Krishna. Stating that he has yellow garments, yellow robes. And there it says he has a girdle. A girdle means like a waist belt that Krishna has. So it's just not, like most of us just wear our dhotis. We don't wear like a sash hanging around it and hanging down. But Krishna, he has one. And in different pictures, we see different colors. The one over there, it looks like it's like a red color. Back there, it's like a yellow color. So he can have different colors. Or Chaitanya up there with the yellow dhoti appearing as Sadbhuj. You know, he has a red color girdle. Sometimes the word girdle refers to like a woman's garment, but in this case, it's the waist belt around Krishna's waist. Also, he has beautiful flower garlands. And that flower garland, there's these bumblebees that are surrounding it because the fragrance of the flower. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that whenever in the spiritual world, the Lord has flower garlands on, or his devotees, there's always these bumblebees that follow along. These bumblebees are actually devotees, and they're serving the Lord by accompanying him and making it even more beautiful by smelling the fragrance on those flowers. So when Jai and Vijay were described guarding the gates, the seventh gate into the Vaikuntha, it said they were wearing flower garlands, and they also had bumblebees surrounding them. We talked about the ornaments that adorned the body of Lord Narayana. He had the Kastuba gem. He had a helmet full of gems and ornaments. And he had armlets, bracelets that were very exquisite. And they shone very brightly. Whenever we hear a description of the Lord, whether it's in his Vishnu form or Krishna form, it's not dull, it's not depressing, it's always blinding, luminous. When even Arjuna, he saw the form of the universal form of Krishna, it was, brighter than millions of suns arising at one time. Blinding. We can't see with our material eyes. We look up into the sky for a minute or two at the sun, our eyes start to dilate, and we start to see spots. So it's not with material eyes that we're going to be able to see Krishna. It is only when Krishna gives us the material or the spiritual vision to see. And that spiritual vision is granted, as we'll get to, through Krishna's devotees. We don't see Krishna directly, and it's not encouraged that we try to see Krishna directly. We have to see through our ears, through the descriptions given to us by the devotees of the Lord, who have seen the Lord directly or have received that information through devotees in disciplic succession. Once Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he was standing, he wore spectacles, and he went to the temple one time and he didn't have his glasses. So he would go and he'd take darshan, and one of his disciples had told him, "I'll run back to the ashram and get your glasses." And he says, "No, that's okay." He said, "Well, how will you see?" He says, "I am not meant to see. I am meant to be seen." Krishna is the enjoyer. He is the seer. I am the seen. So that is our mood too, Instead of trying to see Krishna, we should desire to act in a way in which Krishna will want to see us and be pleased upon us with our service. That is the difference between the mentality of the enjoyer versus the enjoyed, the servant versus the master. And this is also the secret as we advance in spiritual life, in order to gain the mercy of the spiritual master and his devotees. So I also wanted to comment that meditating on the beautiful form of the Lord is very beneficial for us. I was impressed last week. I went to go visit the Sunday school, and Mother Shobha Radhe, one of our Sunday school teachers, who leads the Sunday school program, she was asking her students, and they were young. These are if it's the Gopal class or the Damodar class, I forget the exact name of it. What was Krishna wearing today? And that's one of the questions that she asked them. So she's training them when they come in to take darshan of Krishna during the arti, not to just zoom by, look, offer obeisances, and get up, offer obeisances, get up, offer obeisances. Okay, I did my duty. I offered to Krishna, but I'm not conscious of what's going on. So from a young age, if they're able to learn and meditate upon Krishna, they can develop some awareness and eventually some love for Krishna. But if one doesn't have love for Krishna, if one doesn't have an awareness, one can't develop love. If one is not conscious, you can't become Krishna conscious. So if it's simply just a ritual where we come and we lay down, we get up, we peek at Krishna, okay, I got to keep going, okay, I got to keep going, okay, then this attraction won't develop. If we're too busy to see what Krishna is wearing, to meditate upon Krishna and to be Shri Gaurnitai ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Radha Sharad Bihari ki. How can we serve Krishna with love? So I appreciate that very much, that she's training the young children into, what color was Krishna's garland today? What color, what did Radharani have in her hand? What did Krishna have in his turban? These are the questions. So we can also do the same. We can learn from this. When we look at Krishna, and we can talk about this throughout the day. This is actually one form of Krishna Smarana, is remembering what the deities were wearing, what they were, you can look and see. And we have daily darshans, and we post them on the WhatsApp group. So even if you're unable to come to the temple every day, you can at least peek into the WhatsApp group and get the darshan of Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, and Shri Shri Radha Sharad Bihari. Yeah. And then you can talk about, okay, they're wearing this today, they're wearing that today. This is a nice way to remember Krishna, and also meditate upon Krishna's beauty. An importance to meditate upon Krishna's beauty is that our senses become purified. Our attraction to this material world begins to change. Right now, we're attracted to dull matter, and we're trying to break that attachment. And the beauty that we find in this world, we know philosophically will eventually fade. A very beautiful woman, it's only a number of years before she becomes a wrinkly old woman and not so beautiful. A very strong, man, it's only a number of years before he becomes hunched over and he's not so strong anymore. A person who has great fame in this world, it is only a matter of time before his fortune changes or death will hit him, and then no one will remember them again. Person has a lot of money that may be very attractive. That beauty will again vanquish at some point in time. That's chanchalam. It's flickering, right? It'll be here one moment, be gone another moment. So our attraction in this world, even though it's hard, we're attracted to the football game, we're attracted to the movies, we're attracted to these different things, but they're temporary in value. So the more that we are able to meditate upon Krishna's features, the descriptions that are given here, Krishna's bodily luster, the type of decorations that he wears, the type of helmet that he wears, the earrings that he wears. Meditate upon that. This will bring our attraction away from these material things. And as we continue to do so and advance in our consciousness of Krishna, we will see slowly, slowly, these things of the material world have less consequence to us. And we become more and more attracted to seeing what Krishna is wearing today. How is Krishna being dressed? And learning more and more about the descriptions that we hear by the devotees and sages as they describe them in our scriptures. Now, I wanted to as we go through this purport, Krishna, and we've heard this term before, many of you, one of his names is Madan Mohan, because he's the enchanter of Cupid. Cupid is the god of love. So the god of love has a certain potency. But if the god of love is even enamored by the beauty of the Lord, he is now known as Madan Mohan. And in the Vaikuntha planets, Lord Vishnu, his beauty excels that of Lakshmi Devi. And this is no slight on Lakshmi Devi, because you could say that she is the most beautiful and she is the most attractive. It's not that she is less attractive. It's, we use these words, more and most. More attractive, most attractive. But that is the nature of the Vaikuntha planet, that his beauty surpasses her beauty. And then Srila Prabhupada describes, however, there's in Krishna Loka, or Gokula, Goloka Vrindavan, although Krishna is Madan Mohan, he becomes Madan Daha, or enchanted by the beauty of Srimati Radharani. So in this realm, in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna actually, his beauty is secondary to that of Srimati Radharani. And where in both places, the Lord's beauty is super excellent. It's not like Krishna is not attractive. It's just that the prominence is given to Srimati Radharani. And Srila Prabhupada tells us why. How is it that in Vaikuntha, that Lord Vishnu is more attractive than Lakshmi? But in Goloka Vrindavan, that Radharani is more attractive than Krishna. Now, Lakshmi is just an expansion of Radharani, and Vishnu is an expansion of Lord Krishna. So how is it that in one place one is more attractive and the other one is more attractive? So Srila Prabhupada explains here, the adjustment, he says, this is the words he uses, the adjustment is that the Lord, being Bhakta Vatsala, or one who wants to please his devotees, assumes such a feature so that his devotees may be pleased. So the demigods, those that see the Lord in the form of awe and reverence, they are very attracted, to this majestic Ishvara form of the Lord. So he reciprocates with them in such a way, as he did with the four Kumaras. And they became overwhelmed with joy, that their eyes became, it says, without satiation, meaning like they didn't get enough, right? This is what we desire to have. We come and take darshan. We don't want to take our eyes off the Lord. Take 1 or 2 minutes, okay, I've seen, let me go on. But satiated so that, we become completely immersed in the beauty and darshan of the Lord's form. We don't want to see anything else after that. So in order to reveal and himself or to reciprocate, being Bhakta Vatsala with his devotees, he becomes more attractive because that's what they desire. And then, however, in Vrindavan, that is the place where Radharani is in control. She has actually the more prominent position. And the devotees take more pleasure in her being more beautiful. So Krishna takes the secondary seat. Actually, Krishna takes more pleasure in seeing Radharani. And this is the transcendental competition between the two. Upon seeing Krishna, Radharani becomes more splendid, and her bodily features become more attractive. And then as she becomes more attractive, Krishna looks upon her, and then Krishna becomes more beautiful upon seeing her beauty, and then Krishna becomes more attractive. And then Radharani, seeing Krishna being more attractive, her bodily luster continues to grow, and she becomes more attractive. And in this way, there is no limit to the beauty of Krishna and Radharani and Vrindavan. There's, like here in the material world, we have limits to ourselves. we grow old, we age. They continue to grow in ecstatic symptoms. And in this way, there's no ending, there's no ceiling, there's no cap to the qualities and growth in the spiritual world. Now, so this all takes place because of Krishna's quality as Bhakta Vatsala, wanting to reciprocate with the mood of his devotees. I want to just mention real quickly that there's a verse in which Lord Shiva is glorifying Lord Narayan. This is from the 4th canto. I'll just read it real quickly. The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has 4 arms and is exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind-attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautifully, fully decorated ears. Srila Prabhupada comments that in the scorching summer season, it is very pleasing to see dark clouds in the sky. So Krishna's color is like that of dark clouds. And in the very hot summer season, when a person sees dark clouds, it reminds them of Krishna in a very pleasing way because they know the cooling rain is going to come. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord wears a peacock feather in his hair. His bodily complexion is blackish, like a blackish cloud. The word Sundara or Snigdha means very pleasing. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya. Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that not even millions upon millions of cupids can compare to it. The Lord's form as Vishnu is decorated with opulence. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to see the most opulent form of Narayan, or Vishnu. Generally, the worship of the Lord begins with Narayana, or Vishnu, whereas the worship of Lord Krishna and Radharani is most confidential. Lord Narayan is worshipable by the Pancharatrika Vidhi, or regulative principles, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipable by the Bhagavat Vidhi. No one can worship the Lord in the Bhagavat Vidhi without going through the regulations of the Pancharatrika Vidhi. Actually, neophyte devotees worship the Lord according to the regulative principles enjoined in the Narada Pancharatrika. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by the neophyte devotees. Therefore, temple worship according to the regulative principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of the neophyte devotee is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. This goes on, and it's very interesting for us because we worship Radha and Krishna, and we're not trained to worship Lakshmi and Narayan, right? We come in the morning, right? We don't recite the Vishnu Sahasranam, right? Although it's very, very beneficial and very glorious. We sing, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Yashamoti Nandana, Rajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana, right? We sing these songs glorifying the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. We pray to Tulsi Maharani, please make me a maidservant of the residents of Vrindavan. Our goal is to go into these pastimes of Vrindavan. This is what Lord Chaitanya has brought. Golakara Premadan Harinam Sankirtan. He brought the treasure of divine love in the form of Goloka Vrindavan, in the form of the chanting of the Lord's holy names. Lord Chaitanya, when you read his what he came to give, he didn't come to give Ishwara Bhava, or the mode of worship in which we worship the Lord as Ishwara. In fact, he says, this does not, as Krishna he's speaking, he says, this actually does not attract me. Everybody in the world is attracted, or everybody in the world wants to worship me in awe and reverence. But I'm actually not moved by this. What I'm moved by is the pure love of my devotees who don't see me as the Supreme Lord, see me as a cowherd boy. The challenge for us is we have to get from our materially contaminated state into that state of pure love of God. So we have to go through the regulative principles. We can't simply just jump into this mood of what's called Bhagavat Vidhi. Now, Bhagavat Vidhi often refers to 3 different types of relationships with the Lord. Madhurya, ras or conjugal love, Vatsalya, parental love, and even Vatsalya, or friendship love. Now that friendship love is a little different than that of friendship love as a servant, like Arjuna was friends with Krishna as more of a servant. But this friendship love, they don't have an idea that Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of God. So, and on the platform of Dasya, this comes with rules and regulations. And right now, we're practicing on the platform of Dasya. We're servants of Krishna. Now, the key is that we're serving Krishna in the form of Dasya, under ultimately the guidance and the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. And Lord Chaitanya is not different than Srimati Radharani, who is the most confidential servant of the Lord. So that is our secret. Even though we perform this sadhana bhakti, and this sadhana bhakti has to be done through the rules and regulations, but done in the mood coming through our Gaudiya tradition, given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through the parampara, ultimately, and we'll get to the spiritual master in just a moment. We gradually develop a deep attraction to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But the importance of rules and regulations has to be there, or else we will take things very cheaply. We'll start to speculate with our minds. Once there was a time when devotees, they were saying, well, Jagannath is also Krishna. So they started putting a flute with Jagannath, because they were thinking, Jagannath is Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada heard about this. And he says, why can't you just follow directions? Did I ever tell you to put a flute with Krishna? Instead, you want to make these things up by yourself. You want to come up with your own, speculations. He's Krishna, but he's in a different form of Krishna in Vrindavan. Krishna in Vrindavan has a flute, but not this Jagannath has a flute, right? So we can't simply just jump ahead. We have to actually purify our senses. We have to purify our minds. And so this process is put in place for us so that we don't let our material contaminations get ahead of our spiritual endeavors, where we don't become mixed in our consciousness with our own desire to gain prominence. So this idea of servitude has to be there, or else everything will become ruined. So that is the importance. That's why Srila Prabhupada talks about this. We have to have this very awe and reverence mood for the deities. That awe and reverence comes in 5 different ways: cleanliness, punctuality, opulence in bhoga offerings, opulence in flowers, and then also dressing. When you show these opulence to Krishna, you're putting Krishna then first. And we can see so much activity goes on here in the temple around trying to create this opulent mood within our capacity. Fresh flowers are offered every day, multiple times a day in the arti, but fresh flowers around the deities as garlands. Many devotees engage in this service, presenting Krishna with these garlands. The food offerings becoming opulent. Instead of make Krishna some bread and give Krishna bread with some peanut butter on it. No, no, it's, rice, dal, several types of vegetables, type of bread, different varieties, and we should think like this. We're cooking for Krishna, there should be some opulence, some variety to it. When dressing Krishna, when Krishna, when the worship of Krishna was first offered into, where Srila Prabhupada established the worship of Radha and Krishna in the West, he made the comment that he didn't want Krishna to be worshipped without a shirt on. And he didn't want Krishna's hair to be too long. Because at that time, there were a lot of hippies. And hippies were known for having very long hair, and also without any type of shirt. They would walk around. So don't bring Krishna down to your level. Treat Krishna with opulence, right? So he established temple worship in this way. So now, moving into the mood of worshiping Radha and Krishna and how it can be done and how it should be done. We learn this from the Guru Astakam, the prayers that we chant in the morning. And thank you for showing, and I know, Sita, you arranged it and you talked to Yadava Shrestha Prabhu to put it up there this morning. It was nice because we should reflect upon the words and meaning of the Guru Astakam and the importance of, the tattva of Guru. And we can read how, the spiritual master, the first shloka, the first stanza, talks about how he's pouring this cloud, as water pours water on a forest fire. This cycle of samsara is being extinguished by the mercy of the spiritual master. He's coming to deliver the disciple, and then he's engaged in the singing and dancing and the playing of the musical instruments. And he's very glad to see his disciples engaged in the singing and chanting, because he knows that this is the purification process by which one is becoming attracted to Krishna. But he's relishing mellows of pure devotion within his mind. And as he's doing that, his hair is standing upon end. And then he's also engaging his disciples in the worship of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. He's engaged in the worship, and he teaches them, how to bathe them, how to clothe them, how to put beautiful ornaments on them, how to cleanse the temple, how to offer respectful obeisances, how to offer different types of foodstuffs, varieties of food. And then in the fifth stanza, it becomes a little bit more confidential. It says, the spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava. their qualities, their names, their forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. Spiritual master is very dear because he's expert in assisting the gopis, who are at times, they're making very tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavan. So, if we become invited, and we have the good fortune to be able to get a glimpse and serve Radha and Krishna, this is our entrance point. It is not through our own qualification, as we say, or our own personal endeavor, because we won't be able to see. And if we do get it, if we do think we're seeing, we're not actually seeing, it for real. We come in through the mercy of the spiritual master. Hearing these words are very important, and we get a chance to meditate upon this as we sing this every morning. The spiritual master is not an ordinary living being. They're a confidential servant of the Lord, and as a result, they should be honored as much as the Supreme Lord. They are not Krishna, but they're a most confidential servant of Krishna, and therefore should be given respect as Krishna is given. And then finally, unless one receives this benediction of the spiritual master, one will not receive Krishna. And if one doesn't receive the benediction of the spiritual master, one won't make any spiritual advancement. So it is through this mood one can advance. This is the only way to advance. But in this mood, we should attempt to advance in devotional service. Approaching the spiritual master, begging for their grace. There are two ways to beg. One is for mercy, one is for grace. We need both. Mercy is to erase all of our sinful reactions, all of our karma, all of our bad habits, all of our anarthas. Please deliver me from these. Like a person says, please have mercy on me. What that means is that please have, I'm do a lot of bad things. I've done a lot of bad things. My mind is contaminated. I desire to suffer because of this. So please relieve me from this. Have mercy upon me. Jagai and Madai, they begged for mercy. Please don't, I deserve a lot worse, but please. And then the grace is, please bestow, unconditional goodness, Krishna's blessings upon me. Okay. I'll stop here. Thank you all. I know we had 3 verses to cover. And my request, as I'm requesting myself and request the devotees, please let us take special care. We take darshan of the Lord. We hear these beautiful descriptions of the Lord in the scriptures. Let us not just read these and forget about it. Let us remember it. And as the Sunday school children do every Sunday, let us talk about the Lord. Let us remember what they're wearing, the color of their garlands, what Srimati Radharani has in her hand, or how her head is decorated. The turbans of Lord Jagannath and what they look like. Okay. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Any questions, comments, or thoughts, reflections, realizations?
That how to implement the philosophy. I know many things, prohibition, but even after, like how to make the philosophy work in my life, not only just reading and forgetting. like Shravanam, and then also applying that Shravanam to life. How to
Well, Shravanam, hearing, so hearing become realized, right? So it depends on specifically what you're referring to, but the practice ultimately becomes manifested in our service to the Lord. Using the example I gave of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that we are not the seers, we are the seen. We are to be enjoyed by Krishna, we are not the enjoyers. So in that mood, we enter into service of the Lord. Krishna, I belong to you. Krishna, how can I serve you? And that's the same mood when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Krishna, please engage me in your service. And if we ask Krishna for service, Krishna wants us more than we can ever imagine. Krishna is waiting around since time immemorial for us to say, Krishna, please engage me in your service. So when we hear these instructions, we hear the philosophy, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these narrations of the pastimes, these are all instructions to remind us that we're meant to actually be engaged in Krishna's service. So the perfection of such is that we utilize our body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord. Think about Krishna, think about Krishna. That service. But sometimes just thinking about Krishna, we'll fall short. We'll think about Krishna for 5 minutes and then we have to be practical. And therefore there's unlimited services to be done. Right? Serving, going out, distributing Krishna Prasadam, Krishna's mercy in the form of Srila Prabhupada's books, Harinam Sankirtan, worship here in the temple, serving the deities, cleaning the temple, which is not different than the Lord. His abode, his dham is not different than him. Publicizing, promoting Krishna consciousness, hearing Krishna's pastimes, learning the philosophy, learning shlokas, chanting the holy names with love and attention. There's unlimited services that we can engage in. But that, when we hear, it should be then come manifested in some type of activity. Okay, it's after 9 o'clock. We'll stop here. Thank you online for listening. I'll just take this off to see if there's any